advance, the next phase of the resolution?
Well, what would be really helpful was for you to participate also to like these awards, social good, and to show that with numbers, we can actually have results and improve the lives of citizens. This is what was the main argument to convince my colleagues to support this technology. So they want to see how this can change our lives. So one of the main examples would be, we have 130 billion of hidden fees in Europe. How can we improve that? So I would say that when you use blockchain for financial services, you can find smart solutions to avoid these fees. I know Ripple is working towards this direction, of course. And there was a very interesting debate in the Paris FinTech Forum with Brad and the CEO of your Brad Ripples and this Swift guy from the banking sector. He was being a bit defensive when Brad was asking him to use this new technology. So if you would have good numbers for us, how this could improve transactions, time, efficiency, how people can trust it more, how we can save time. When I was trying to make a payment in Greece and I was stuck in Brussels for a month, so I couldn't go back home, I said, okay, I will use my bank account and send to my mom 2,000 euros. And the accountant said, yeah, but I need it today because everything could delay. We had an expiration date. And they said, okay, so what can I do? Actually, I could not use the bank. It would take 3 working days for 2,000 euros to go there in Europe, 2019. So if you see that I can send it now to you and you can have it in seconds, I think this is something that the politicians and the Commission would understand. The same time, we are working now, I think March, we're going to have, they're going to announce the FinTech Action Plan and the timeline to fulfill the obligations we took, to have the crowdfunding file, which means we can also use ICOs to raise money for companies. We have the sandboxes, ideas of how to use sandboxes and where they are needed. This should come from you and how you see this happening. A European passport to be able to transfer this technology across borders and what are the problems that you face. I hope the Brexit will not happen, but I think this should be taken under consideration. So how can we make sure that there are rules and a harmonized environment for this technology that, as I said, it cannot stop by the physical borders. And also best practices. So if you see best practices around and you would like us to follow this example, I have identified the Gibraltar example, which I liked a lot. It's open-minded and it has a very good approach for everything. But any ideas there would be really helpful. I think this could be, and also participate to these pilots. So everybody can participate to these pilots. It's not that bureaucratic anymore. I know that I thought in some sites, especially in the United States, they were saying there is a lot of funding from Europe, but it's so bureaucratic that you should avoid it. I think it was MIT. No, there's a lot of funding and you should not avoid it. You should participate and help us so that we can use your technology to find solutions. So I think this is what I would suggest.
Yeah, a lot of options there of how we should all engage. When you think about a regulatory framework that supports innovation while it protects consumers, you were talking about standardization, and some of the other principles you've talked about previously are around neutrality and scalability and interoperability. Can you talk a little bit more just about your vision with some of those principles as the cornerstones for policy?
Well, basically what we see here is that the technology is developing and we have challenges there. We have to find some definitions, but interoperability, for example, or scalability, there are some technologies, blockchains, that they cannot scale. They cannot take all the transactions, or the fees increase a lot. So I think waiting and talking to people that they are working on solutions, I think we should try to move fast, but not that fast. We should allow the technology to happen. So the principle of innovation friendly means that we should not have more regulation or more directives like GDPR that could stop it. We have to be able to allow innovation. We have to be technology neutral. So we have to be able to allow everything to flourish, all the different blockchains. We do need transparency. We need to make sure that people understand where is the jurisdiction, who is the responsible of their data or of their transactions, and if something goes wrong and they lose their keys, can they ever retrieve it? And so basically there are some things that we should try to work together. I think this observatory and this blockchain association we're going to do. I've also called for an ICO and token observatory. Basically, we need an authority that could give some verification for all the applications or the ICOs of if they are who they claim they are. Because as I said, you can claim to be blockchain and have nothing to do with blockchain. How much decentralization is there? If it's permissioned or permissionless, and how safe you are if you have your deposits there. I think this could actually lead, as I said, we should lead globally. It could set some global standards, and we should do this fast. There are some member states working on cases. One of the other things we should work the next couple of years would be the definitions. I think we understand what is a security. We do need still to see what is a utility when there are services, if you have equity investing, in some ICOs, and also to try to define the hybrid features that some tokens have, and also get suggestions on how you believe we should regulate that. We have to we have to be careful about the anti-money laundering directive, know your customer, GDPR, PSD2. But I think we should not stick to that. That's why I'm not mentioning too much these regulations, because we have to allow the technology to explore and to develop, and then we should be very close and try to protect investors and also businesses.
In thinking even more ambitiously of, this technology is about really connecting the globe. And so have you thought of, Europe is well positioned to be a leader in the space. What other countries do you see leading, and how might the union coordinate frameworks and policy with other countries?
Well, actually, this is how we work. We work with member states that they already have their own definitions. So we have, it's called, I think, NCA, National Something Authority. So each member state, they have their own definitions. What we tried to do with this resolution and with the crowdfunding report was to ask for a harmonized legislation, which means it's one of you that want to test this technology to be able to stay in UK, but also get funding from, use this technology from Germany or Austria. Because you've seen several times, there are ICOs and they say, please, if you're a citizen of Germany, do not participate. So we try to have this harmonized approach. It's not very easy. I see France is working a lot, very well. As I said, Gibraltar, Switzerland, of course. Luxembourg tried, I don't know where they are now. Estonia is very open-minded, and they already have managed to have digitalized a lot their economy. I wouldn't say we're there yet, but at least we know how we're going to proceed, and it's going to be principle-based. We have to be positive. The parliament showed with huge majority that we're very positive to this technology. We gave a lot of funding, and the funding just started, so the opportunities are there. And of course, Europe is working with other member states. We work with other countries. We work with Japan. I think ECB works with Japan already. We work with Switzerland, US. So we try to work with countries that we can have, common values and principles together. So any ideas or things that we have not tried, understood, it would be great if you could let us know. I'm traveling too much, but not everywhere. I cannot be everywhere, but I'm trying to understand where the environment is the best and where the legislation is tested and it didn't create problems. Because the first time I enter a space like this, a forum talking about blockchain, when they heard I was a politician, I really felt bad. I felt I should leave. They didn't want me there. Also it began as like, and I think about, liberal anarchists on the internet that they would hate any politician approaching in the technology or taxing them. So I said, okay, but we need to be very positive, because if we are not positive and fast, then the resistance of the traditional players will increase very fast, and maybe it could actually even kill the technology. And since I sat and I listened to them, I tried to understand their concerns, and I understood also the benefits of decentralization, and I think this is the spirit also of the resolution. So I think if you have politicians that are there to listen and to protect citizens, it's good to have them close by before you have the central banks trying to kill the technology.
Yeah, I mean, we would definitely agree that we have to work together on this for all of us in the room. We can open it up to questions that you might have in the audience. If you just raise your hand, someone will bring a microphone to you so we can all hear your question.
I told them all about the money, so they have no questions. All about the funding.
They're writing their applications
You
right
did
now.
all the nice questions. So.